We are back once again. My camera's a bit fuzzy at the moment. Let's see if we can fix that. I don't know why I'm having so many technical camera issues today. We'll sort it out in a sec. But either way, on to game number 4. Rascal Jesters versus your favorite team, AXZ. We've already talked about ups and downs of teams not necessarily being the most consistent, and I feel like this is a good representation for both of these. About this one today.
Well, I just want to point out that AXZ has beaten Rascal Jesters before. First round robin, they won. Second round robin, we don't look at that. So, hey, AXZ is going to win again, right? It's a thing, yeah.
No, that's fair play. They've done it once. They can do it again. I do definitely believe in that. And also, you know what? Today has been pretty turbulent. Who knows what could happen? It could go either which way. But how would the teams do it? And obviously, Rascal Jesters have been picking up a bit of momentum. If we do look at the 2-round robins, we can see the Rascal Jesters, they went 3-4 in the first round robin. They went 4-3 in the second round robin, where they only lost to the top 3 teams, so the Hawks, Sengoku, and at the side of DFM, whereas AXZ have been very consistent. They went 2-5 and they went 2-5. Now, admittedly, they did beat CGA, I believe, in the second round robin, whereas it Rascal Jesters in the first round robin. So they have switched up who they beat. Obviously, V3 2 times, but will they be able to do it again is the question. Now, we talked a lot about bot lane in that last series. Obviously, bot lane really important for Rascal Jesters, but for AXZ, where do you think their power really lies?
Well, AXZ is in a bit of a strange spot here, Jiro, and I've mentioned it before. They're playing fairly standard for the most part. Yellow Yoshi's been spamming that Gnar in the top lane. Megumin's been popping off a little bit more of the split in the mid lane, more damage carries here. And then Azuka has been kind of the wild card here for this team with questionable engages at times, which, hey, when it works, it looks great. But when it works, tends to be less than 50% of the time. So for AXZ here, it's just kind of a question of, hey, can we perform up to standard? Can we exceed even a little bit? My big question actually is less for AXZ and more for the side of Rascal Jesters, because when AXZ beat Rascal Jesters, it was when Rascal Jesters were still struggling in the first round robin to get an identity. It was supposed to be scaling meta. They embraced that a little bit too much and just kept throwing their early games. And AXZ managed to take advantage of that, drag things out. In the second round robin, Rascal Jesters have swapped things up completely. We've seen a lot of early game drafts, most notably the Caitlyn Karma draft, which was absolutely stunning to watch. And they've been playing a lot of like Lucian Nami, which has been questionable at best with the way Soul and Secret play, which surprises me considering how good a bot duo they are. They can't seem to play that. So it feels like they're trying things out, trying to figure out what works in times for playoffs. And that gives AXZ a chance. If Rascal Justice is trying things out and it doesn't pan out, AXZ can take advantage of that. If they fall back to the scaling ways, maybe AXZ can take advantage of that. But if Rascal Jester play well and don't kind of make mistakes here, the matchups are actually really bad on paper for AXZ, because I know has multiple champions that can beat the Gnar. Recap's really good at stalling out a lane, which will keep Megumin behind, and Soul and Secret as a bot duo. Yeah, Sanctuary is great, but Sanctuary Ozuka as a duo don't look anywhere near Soul and Secret as a duo.
Yeah, and I do feel like Rosswitz have kind of warmed up a little bit. We talked about how obviously in split 1, in the spring split, they went really kind of meh in round robin 1, and then they absolutely destroyed 2 and 3. This time, not having the same upswing as they did before. 4 and 3 obviously is better than 3 and 4, but it's no 7 and 0. It's not some crazy stuff that they did in split 1, but they are starting to get a bit of form, and obviously that is going to be a little bit scary for AXZ. Now, they have brought up some stats on Ino recently about his roaming. He does like to roam a little bit more than maybe other top laners do. I will say it feels like Ino has kind of fallen off a little bit since the spring split. I feel like he's kind of been one of the biggest carries that actually has kind of disappeared.
Yeah, and part of that is also the champion pool that he's been playing a lot more this split compared to spring. In spring, he was playing champions like Aatrox, like Tryndamere, like Jace, like Gragas. They have impact within their own lane, and they have pretty good laning phases. This split in summer so far, he's been playing a lot of GP, Camille, Kale, Ornn. These are not champions that do well early on. They need time to scale up here. And that's one of the reasons why I said Yellow Yoshi is kind of a bad matchup for Ino, or vice versa. Ino is a really bad matchup for Yellow Yoshi, because while Yellow Yoshi's been looking better on that Gnar recently, and I still don't like Blind Nar, but I understand why AXZ is doing it. It's Yellow Yoshi's best chat by far once that Poppy's off the table here. Uh, Nar isn't exactly the answers to these champions. Nar will bully them early, but eventually they'll outscale, and then the Nar just kind of falls off. And on top of that, Yellow Yoshi's not the most oppressive of Nars either. So I feel like Aino's going to get away cheating a little bit in the laning phase.
Yeah, you're gonna have to see how they do draft. As you said, the champions that he does pick, obviously some Gangplank, some Camille, and some Ornn have come through there, but we are still missing the classic Aino picks. Then obviously for Yellow Yoshi, the Poppy has been allowed through a couple of times. It has looked really strong, but that Gnar is a pretty good look. You know, we talked about them being a tank player all the time, but Gnar just gives them a little bit more agency. Now on to the mid lane, because I will say Megamin has been someone that has actually really, really outperformed my expectations of what we saw coming from Spring Split.
Yeah, and Megamin in Spring Split was just kind of a wave clear bot for the most part. It comes summer, he's actually been the big carry of the team. Like Sangchu still does more actually, I'm not even sure if Sangchu's been doing more damage here. Gonna have to check that quickly, but you know, Megamin's definitely stepped up to be able to contest that number. Yeah, Sangchu still barely out damages Megamin, but the fact that I have to check says a lot considering how big a carry Sangchu is here. And if anywhere that AXZ can win the lane, I'm actually looking at the mid lane because Megumin has been performing not just well in team fights, but even in laning phase has actually been pressing his opponents. Recap, on the other hand, not so much. Recap, if anything, has actually slid backwards a little bit. Aside from the Azir last day here on day 14, he's played 3 games straight of Ari and hasn't been that impressive on it either. It's just been like sort of that holding blind pick that he's just kind of gone with to enable Aino to get a last pick here. So if that happens again, I think Megumin can absolutely punish the lane and look to once again be that big threat, be that secondary carry, or even the primary carry in a lot of these team fights.
Yeah, it's definitely one to watch out for. I do think that on day 8 or around that time, I did bring up something about Recap doing a lot more damage and Soul definitely dropping back a bit. But obviously that has been a bit of change since then. So let's get into the final game of the day, draft number 4. And Diana already off the board. Interesting ban. I think it's the first Diana ban we've had today.
Yeah, and usually when we see Diana ban, it's against Burning Core. Against AXZ, this has to be Scrim knowledge. Something happened in Scrims. Maybe Swamp has figured out, hey, we can really pop off on this champ. So we do see that, you know, targeted a little bit. The Silas that we've seen go up in priority and LJL being taken off the board here. And the Kalista here, Jeru. We're talking about, you know, Lucian, Nabi, Caitlyn, sort of early game for Roscoe Jesters. Roscoe Jesters draws a lot of Kalista bans. And I'm still not sold that it's worth banning. I think you give that to Soul and you pick a skill on your own side.
Yeah, Kalista, definitely, I would say, a controversial pick. I think that it's a strong pick if played well, but how many teams do I think play it well? That is really the question. But either way, it's going to be banned once again. Obviously, Lucian is still on the board. Lucian Nami could be picked up if someone wanted an early game lane, or you never know, maybe the Draven as well. But Yuumi going to be taken off the board. It's going to be the Diana, the Silas, and the Talia. And Gangplank, the last ban from AXZ. So not allowing Aino onto something that he's very comfortable on.
Yeah, and with that Yuumi ban, Jero, I think Sivir has shot up massively in priority at this point here. The Zeri won't be quite as strong. Are we seriously? I mean, Hachimecha, okay, here's the problem with the LJL. They do like to bait with your picks. Hachimecha has played the Belveth before, and no, they're going with the Gnar instead.
Damn.
They're going to take that away from Yellow Yoshi. I didn't think that was necessary. I know chat pool fits so well against the Gnar.
I don't know how I feel about B1 Gnar. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's real early. That's a real early Gnar pick right there.
They keep doing it too. I don't understand.
Yeah. Anyway, on to the next pick. Zeri going to be locked in, and that's actually been one that Sanctuary has performed really well on ever since the champion got released. Gwen also being hovered there. Gwen going to be locked in into the Gnar. I don't really understand the B1 Gnar.
I'm kind of worried for Yellow Yoshi as well. With this Gwen pickup, it's not something he plays a ton of. Did play it once last split, and it was to say the least here. Gwen does have a decent matchup into Gnar though, especially later on. Again, Gnar tends to win most of his matchups early just because he's ranged here. So I expect to see that continue. And the big question is, can Yellow Yoshi take advantage of those windows of opportunity? J-Real, what are we seeing? Not only is it a B1 Gnar, where is my Sivir? I don't understand this. Yumi's been taken off the board. Sivir should now be prime. We don't see the Sivir come through. Instead, it's a Zeri preference, and sure, it works, with a Lulu, for example, but it's just not as strong. And then RJ go back to that Lucian Nami. And to be honest, I am not sold with Lucian Nami. This feels like RJ is continuing to use these games as higher level practice with their drops.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the draw so far. I think that it definitely has potential, and I think the Lucian Nami can be played really well. We've also seen it a couple of times this split. I think DFM played it once, and it absolutely popped off. And then I don't remember exactly who it was, but another team did play it, and it did not go well at all. So it's been a little bit hit or miss. AXZ, though, drafting the Zeri and the Nautilus, I do like the fact that they've given themselves a little bit of engage, obviously considering that they had Big Gwen in the top side, which could still be flexed to the jungle. But in terms of who the junglers are going to be, I'm very interested because the champion pool is being reduced. Diana gone, Trundle gone, and Poppy. We may be looming into some newer champions if things like the Viego also get knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, Talia also a bit of a jungle pick, though we see her more in the mid lane here in the LJL. But the big ones, Wukong and Viego, which almost everybody's been spamming, are still up and available here. And if anything, Hachimich has got a slightly more eclectic champion pool, with Vi being in there. Skarner played just last day as well. So if anything, it's more Swamp's pool that might be slightly restricted here.
Oh.
Well, they banned Skarner. Okay.
So Russell just coming through with a bit of an interesting ban there, going for that Skarner. And there are quite a few junglers that are still up here, but they're going to save it potentially to the last pick. They're hovering the Azir. And AXZ, I feel like saving your last pick to jungle, maybe they got something really interesting.
That is definitely very, very odd to come through. That said, I do. Megumin's one of the mid laners in the LJL that I really like having blind pick as champion. His pool is really good for blind pick. He plays the Orianna, not on R5. Thank you very much. He'll blind the Orianna. You can blind the Victor, you can blind the Corki, you can blind the Azir. And his Azir is his most played champion. Great pickup right now. There's not a lot to punish the Azir with. And for Rascal, just as we mentioned before, Recap has been spamming that. Oh, that's on an Ari. Zilean to come through here, seemingly out of nowhere. And J-Ro, I don't even think it fits this composition. What are we looking at for Roscoe Jester's composition? I am so confused right now.
Okay, I'm done. Okay. What? Why? I'm so confused with the drops. Okay, so all right, so the Zilean. I don't hate. Okay, the Zilean is whatever. I don't particularly like it with Vi. I'll say that. Is this like a day where they're just like, you know what? We're just gonna bait people with a pick that we could have blind picked. Like Wukong saved till 5th pick. Like really? Yeah, I don't even think Wukong is that amazing into this team. It's not like I don't know. I'm not sure.
I mean, okay, the Wukong pick itself, I think, is perfectly fine. It does pretty well into most of the composition. But I agree with you. Why R5? What is with these R5s, Jerry? They're literally all picks that should have come earlier in the draft here. So definitely a lot of confusion over what we're looking at. I will say, though, I intensely dislike this Zilean pickup. I don't understand what the goal of the Zilean is. So generally, when you pick Zilean, you pick it on a team with a hyper carry, something like keep the cog, protect the Kog'Maw composition, a Jinx composition, something where there's going to be somebody who's going to be absolutely massively popping off, or maybe even a Bel'Veth. If you had the Bel'Veth, I'd understand the Zilean there. The other time you kind of pick a Zilean, especially when it's the mid lane, is when you've got a jungler who really benefits from those levels, or who's looking for some bit of like early J's. Like Zilean Xin Zhao was a thing because Xin Zhao is so aggressive, he gets in there, and if you give him the early levels, he can run the early game. You can't fight him, and he just wins every one.
Like Volibear, Trundle, things that need movement speed as well. Like yeah,
exactly.
Agree.
But Vi, that's not who I look at, because when you have a Vi, she gets to 6 as quick as possible. So maybe that's the goal. Get Vi to 6 and snowball lane. You have the Lucian Nami lane. But of all the duos to run it, Soul and Secret. So Lucian's been played 4 times in the LJL this split. Once by DFM, which was the Smash game. V3 played it once to questionable effect. And I would argue that the Lucian Nami wasn't really the issue. It was other things that were happening. And then Roscoe Jesters has played it twice. And both times the Lucian Nami hasn't looked good for Roscoe Jesters here. So I just really don't understand what they're looking for with the Zilean mid, with this Vi jungle. Because to me, that has to be it. And then I look over to AXZ. I love their composition. Scaling in 3 lanes, that's very, very typical, especially, into a team like Rascal Justice who likes to play a little bit later here. You've got Swamp on the Wukong to sort of protect you and bridge you into said late game here. And Azir for Megaman is really, really safe. So I think AXZ have won this dropped quite handily. The only question is, can they execute, or can Rascal Justice really actually overwhelm them in the early?
Yeah, I would agree. And look, the thing is, I fully agree. I actually don't dislike the Wukong, although I do dislike this early trade from Mazuka. And it's quite a bit of damage going down. Going to go back in, a little bit risky from them. And Soul and Secret getting a much, much better trade.
Yeah, I mean, we got Nema back. Can we can we get Ozuka traded back up for a bit?
I don't know if I've lost RMC or if it's just okay. No, he just can't believe what he's seeing. Okay, that's all right. That's fine. Either way, I'm going to continue with my point. So I don't dislike the Wukong pick, right? I think the Wukong is fine. I think it's very meta. I think it's very strong. We've seen it perform so well today that it's a good pick. I just don't like that they R5'd it. I feel like there was so much potential for it to be something like a Kindred, something like maybe like a Kha'Zix, something that was just like a little bit different. You could have even had like my favorite, which is Fiddlesticks. Like there's so many picks that you could have gone for that maybe you want to save until that fifth pick, and then they just picked Wukong. That's just like, bro, you could have R1'd this pick. Like it just felt like a bit of a weird agency.
For sure. But that said, J-Ro, I think it's fine. Like it does serve its purpose, and it's not like they got punished for it, which is the other kind of weird thing here, right? Like we see the Azir come through and they picked Zilean. It's like, okay, there are champions which can punish. Something like a Zed can really punish an Azir. Zilean, So AXZ kind of get away with R5ing the Wukong. And for now, we're just seeing full clears to come through from both sides. Swamp starting top side, so he's not going to lose out too much, despite the fact that Yellow Yoshi has been shoved under turret. And Ino is actually going to get a quick deep invade here. Now Hacha Micha looking for this, and surely AXZ know, right? They're up against the Vi.
Yeah, surely they know, but there is the Vi getting a lot of damage down. Sanju just about lives. One more shot will take it, and Soul finds the kill, and that's exactly what you want to see if you're a Rascal Justice fan. You want the early game to go your way. You have such a good start to this game. Lucian Nami is so strong, and so is the Vi, but it does feel a little bit like the CGA game in terms of Rascal Justice need to start winning and win fast.
Yeah, they need to win big as well here. And there was a moment where I thought, okay, Soul isn't going to get this kill because he actually stuttered or an auto attack there. And Ozuka, right there, that cancel from Soul. And I was like, no way Sanctuary's going to get out alive. Ozuka a little bit late on the stun though, and it does make all the difference. I'd said surely AXZ, no, apparently not, because against the Vi, you've got to be careful of those level 2, level 3 ganks to come through, especially when your top side's getting shoved in and you didn't see where the Vi started. You've got to assume that, hey, if I'm the extended lane here, I'm probably going to get punished.
Oh, that bubble was kind of disgusting from Secret. That was very nice, but not going to really lead to any damage, as we are going to see Swamp lurking around the top side of the jungle, looking to see if there are any camps up. He would potentially find the Gromp, but he's not going to go that far, and he might look for Recap, who is actually having not that bad a time against Megan.
Yeah, as the Zilean, you won't lose the lane. You're just not going to win it. It's kind of a handshake wave clear lane. Azir, if anything, is the one looking to poke out, but Megaman's not running the Comet or First Strike. You're running Conqueror. So in this case, Megaman's looking more for those later team fights rather than lane dominance here. So I'm not expecting to see too much action. Both of them are just going to be shoving lanes, and it's more a question of appropriate priority when you want to make some sort of action happen for your lanes here. And I think Zilean has the slight edge on that with the bombs clearing waves a little bit easier here.
Indeed, he does. And right now in the top side as well, we've not seen too much. Nara actually having a slightly better time. I know they're ahead on CS, but when we did last look up top, Yellow Yoshi was having some pretty good trades.
Yeah, Yellow Yoshi is just constantly getting shoved under turret, pardon me. And my big concern with the way this is happening is that if you're looking at the way it's shoving, it's always 2, 3 waves being pushed in by Ino being stacked up here, which means that Hacha Micha can actually look for dives. See, Yellow Yoshi needs to trim the waves a little bit further out here. Now, Rascal Justice, we said they need to get an early lead. I like this. They get the bot side lead. They're going for that dragon early here. They're stacking immediately. They recognize that dragon stacking is a win condition for them here. So I want to see them continue focusing the early heralds as well to keep that snowball rolling.
Yeah, indeed. There, and if they get anything that isn't Cloud Drake, then obviously their Dragon stacking is definitely going to pay off. As Yellow Yoshi in a bit of a trade with Ino here, both about half HP. Did use the Hallowed Mist to get a little bit of separation from those autos, but Ino very much in control at the moment.
Yeah, and while the trait looks good for Yellow Yoshi, what troubles me is the sort of minion wave positioning here. It looks like Aino's once again going to try and stack two waves to crash in, and every time you do that, Yellow Yoshi is missing a couple of minions, getting poked down by Aino for free. Now, Swamp not actually going to back up that top lane whatsoever here. Still looking to maybe try and get something bought. Doesn't look like it though. Soul and Secret aren't playing the Lucian Nami like we're used to seeing, where you've got that aggro. They've actually been really, really passive, letting waves push into them.
Ino stepping a bit far forward here. Neither are going to be
Oh,
getting used by Yellow
wow.
Yoshi. Not going to go for the last one though. He's just going to use it back on the wave, and I know having to flash away. That is a pretty nice trade. Ghost, though, was used by Yellow Yoshi. Is now Hachimecha. It's going to find them.
Oh,
It
no.
looked like Yellow Yoshi just smited there. That was a bit confusing for me, but here they go. And it is going to be the Silton Battery. Yellow Yoshi in a bit of trouble here. No flash to get away. Tries to buy some time with the Hallowed Mist, but it will not work. I know going to pick up the kill. And it will be another kill over to Russell Jesters, so keeping that top lane momentum going.
Pain, Jero, just pain. Why? Why did you do that, Yellow Yoshi? You win out your top side, you burn the flash, and then you walk into river.
On Ozuka, I'm gonna have to flash away. Good dodge of the bubble, but I don't know why he's playing so aggressive.
that's just Ozukon attack.
It's
Any
yeah,
tank.
so we're gonna go aggressive now with the culling cutting through. Sanctuary going pretty low. The bubble just slightly short, and Secret almost dies himself. And AXZ, man, they have a cull on Zeri early game versus Lucian Nami, but they're playing as if they are playing like Callista North.
Firstly, if that was Nema playing that Nautilus, Axis gets a kill. Secondly, though, you're right. The call picked up by Sangchu, and Sangchu doesn't want to fight. Sangchu is just trying to farm. You can see that in the positioning, and this is my problem with Ozuka so far, and why I like the Yumi so much more for Ozuka here, was just that his tanks are unnecessarily aggressive. And while that can work, especially when your team is ahead, and I think later in this game here, J-Real, Ozuka on Nautilus might actually be a good thing. In the early game, it's not, and it's costing Sangchu a ton of pressure here.
Is indeed. Talking about pressure on the top side. Swamp trying to get into something. Hasn't really found any ganks thus far, though, and it's looked a little bit slow in terms of tempo, but his team does scale out, so it's not going to be the worst. Now Azuka going to find a great engage onto Secret. We are going to see the Chrono Shift work out, but Nami, you're going to go down.
No way!
You're not going to go down? Secret will finally fall down, and there we go. The double bomb going to land. For a second there, I was like, wait, what? But no, it is going to be the Nami that falls.
Yeah, I can't even make fun of CJ fans anymore. Oh, Sangchu's all alone here.
Oh, Sanctuary there. The flash from Vi is going to come through. Assault and Battery to lift them up. It's going to be a pretty simple kill over to Soul, and that will give them some platings as well.
Yeah, and Sangchu is running cleanse. You can't cleanse anything Vi does to you. It's just knockups all the way down. So that's going to cost them. And that's not just going to cost them on the bot side. It's actually going to cost them around the Herald here.
Ooh.
AXZ have to be careful about this one.
Yeah, and Soul just underneath this tower taking a bit of damage from Nautilus, but it's not too much to handle. Swamp, Megamin trying to get this Herald. They do have a little bit of pressure, though, coming from the side of Russell. Just a Secret, I know, and Recap trying to make it work. And Swamp taking quite a bit of damage there. Needs to be careful with Yellow Yoshi trying to cover for the jungler who was low. Hachimecha also jumping into this fight, but will they be able to get close enough? Yellow Yoshi over the wall will get themselves to safety. AXZ playing with fire a little bit around that rift.
This morning I woke up, J-Real, and I thought, oh, it's going to be Roscoe Jesters versus AXZ. It's going to be Sengoku versus CGA. The games are looking pretty one-sided. I can chill this morning. I'll need coffee. Now I need the opposite of coffee. I need like a sedative at this point. Yeah, I'm getting a heart attack watching AXZ the way they're playing. That Herald was so close again as well. AXZ unnecessarily taking risks. That one, however, panned out. I am so happy for that because they are falling behind in multiple lanes right now. Their only winning lane is mid for Megamin. Swamp behind, Yellow Yoshi behind, Sangchu behind here. They need an influx of gold quick because Roscoe Jesters are about to run away with this game here the way things are going.
Yeah, they are indeed right now. Yellow Yoshi there keeping themselves in the game. I'd say they're having the best lane out of everyone involved. Asuka's out going to take quite a bit of damage from the culling, but Nice Shield does mean that it's not going to be too much to handle and should be able to just heal that one up with some potions.
Dragon back up here, and we said Roscoe Jester's Dragon stacking is a win con, so surprise, surprise. Hacha Micha going to be down here immediately looking to take this. Saltwomp has Cyclone, but I don't think AXZ actually want to fight this yet. They're not at any of their power spikes.
Yeah, and Soul is very, very strong at the moment, looking very dangerous. And obviously, with the help of Secret, it makes it even more scary. Although saying that, Russell Justice have given up some pressure. It is a 4v4, and they may be saying that they don't think they can win this. Here goes the Death Touch, knocking out the Vi, and that's a big turnaround. Now, Swamp taking quite a bit of damage, but it's going to be Vi already going down, and Hacha Mecha out of the fight. No smite means that it's all Axis, and they take this one and they can walk away.
Topside, I know.
They're going to go aggressive onto Ino. One more needlework could just do it. It's going to be the damage, and Axis, well, we said they've done it once. It does look like they're putting themselves in a situation where they could do it again, and I am very surprised, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the Zali and Vi. It just doesn't really synergize.
Jiro, as a color caster, my job is to try and explain and contextualize what's going on. I can't, so I'm just going to go home now because I don't know what's going on. I'm so confused. Even Topside, I know had Flash. He didn't need to die.
Well, that's, yeah, revelations being made across the map. And we'll see what happens with Roscoe Justice. I feel like they've picked themselves a very interesting comp to play, but right now we are going to get a gank onto Megamin. Does dodge the second bomb, but it will not be enough. Hachimacha there with the damage. The flash was used by the Azir, and goodbye mid laner is the name of the game.
Okay, so we're going to get a replay as well now of the 1v1 between Yellow Yoshi and Ino here. I do think it's kind of scary. We did say Gwen is going to start winning this matchup at some point. It looks like it's kind of at this point. And oh, so the flash wasn't up. The indicator on the side. Okay, there was a bug there. So Ino's flash, even though it showed as being available on the portrait, wasn't actually available. And that was why he died there. So really well played from Yellow Yoshi. And it's rare that we get to see Yellow Yoshi not on a tank, or at least half a tank on the Gnar. So I'm really glad that he's performing here in this particular matchup. And that opens up options for Axis as well. Now you've got side lane pressure. So you've got more than one potential winning lane here. And Roscoe Jesters, the question is, where do you go? Do you try and salvage that top side where you've gone zero pressure pretty much? Or do you just double down onto this bot lane, continue to try and punish Sanctuary and accelerate Soul?
Yeah, no, I'd like to see them just double down. To be honest, I think that Soul has been such a good carry for them in historical presence that you can rely on Soul. Admittedly, it is on the Lucian, which is going to start to fall off a little bit later. But realistically, I think that they have to just play with a lot of tempo. They really just have to try and get this bot lane ahead and just try and pick up the wins from there.
Yeah, and tempo, J-Real, you mentioned, it's an important term and one that gets used and thrown around a lot in League of Legends. It doesn't just mean getting to a place first or literally moving faster like with Cloud Drakes, but more just where you're doing and what you're doing with your time here. So we've seen Roscoe Jesters get quite a few good ganks off with Hacha Micha here. We've seen 4 kills go down, but we haven't really seen those kills connected into things. Yes, they get objectives. It's not necessarily off the kills. It's just off the pressure that they already have. And Roscoe Jesters, you said they need better tempo, but they need to connect it.
Oh, so they're getting knocked up. The Cyclone going to be coming through. A great hook from Azuka and another kill to Sangchu. And this bot lane, we said it was kind of the saving grace for Roscoe Jesters, but it's not going too well at the moment. Megamin able to cause problems in this mid lane as well. A nice little shuffle there to get over that wall, as we might see another gank from Hachimecha.
Yeah, they're calling in Secret as well.
Up goes Megamin. He is going to get hit with the bubble. That's a lot of damage. And Recap going to be able to survive the tower. So Azir, once again, not safe. And Swamp might be on the receiving end of a bit more damage than he would have liked.
Interesting choice from Megamin there as well to try and shuffle Recap under turret. Recap did have the Chrono Shift available, so there really wasn't much kill threat onto the Zillion there. I'd have liked to see it used defensively. And Roscoe Jesters, here's that question about tempo here. You got the kill. What are you going to do with it here? What objective are you looking to take? The replay, we're going to see the bot side, and Swamp hasn't really been ganking too much, so it's good to see him go down there and be able to find that Ozuka. Ozuka is in a really bad spot. Soul didn't see him.
It's like a horror game, really. Asuka then just about makes it out. Luckily, Soul didn't step ever so slightly closer to that brush and just reveal where the Nautilus was. But now Asuka been so in danger once again. Recap not going to be able to land the double bomb though, so we'll be able to avoid the stun. As here comes the rest of the team. The Rift Herald is going to go pretty low. It's secured by Russell just for the fight. After does ensue. Recap going to use that chrono shift pretty early on themselves, trying to be in this fight, but it's now going to be Hachamecha that is in trouble. We do see Recap going to go back with the chrono shift as now AXZ diving forward. But no, with a big stun on the backside of this fight. Sangju going pretty low, but able to stay alive for a little bit longer. Will be able to pick up the kill onto the Gnar. And on the flip side, Megamin with huge plays takes it for a 3-for-2 over to AXZ. They don't get the Herald, but they do get the team fight win, and maybe they can take that into some sort of objective. Dragon is on the map and they're looking to secure it.
Yeah, great rotations from AXZ here. And the scary part, J-Real, if you're a Roscoe Jesters fan, is you just lost a major team fight and you were the early game team. So where do you go from here? Scaling is not in your favor. This initial fight for Roscoe Jesters, I thought they were just zoning for the Herald here. I didn't think they actually wanted to fight this, but I guess they saw the poke they got on Ozuka and they were like, hey, we can do this. And this is why I said Ozuka is sort of a double-edged blade. Kind of bad early, but late can be better. Risky engage doesn't look good. And because of that chrono shift, there's numbers advantage for Roscoe Jesters, but it's deceptive because Yellow Yoshi and Sangshu are just doing so much damage. And on this dive as well, Yellow Yoshi goes down, but Sangshu is able to finish things on the back line here, able to salvage. Megaman actually picking up the kill on Secret as well on the side. So massive win for AXZ here. And that was when they were down gold. With that gold inflection, in a much better position.
Asuka getting picked up by the bubble. No. That's a lot of damage from the culling and the Vi coming through after. And now another team fight does ensue. But Hachamecha going to go pretty low. Does get hit with the chrono shift though. Will come back to life as there is the Emperor's Divide to push them back in and secure the kill. Double one does land to stun them up. The Swamp will survive. 2-for-1 though in the mid lane. Can AXZ hold on to this bit of pressure? They have the Azir Towers. Here comes Aino. Gets this done against the Zeri. Now that's going to be good by Sangchu as Soul stepping forward. Swamp almost going down, but it's still going to be enough as Megamin stepping upwards again. Soul going aggressive, but faces. Soul not dead though. It's going to be enough, and Soul playing around the tempo gets the kill with the Gnar as well. And it's absolutely huge. Aino picking up that last one there. And Rascal Jesters say we might have lost that fight, but we're going to bring this one back.
Yeah, so close, Joe. So many little things which could have gone wrong there. So just barely getting out of range on the tower. And it starts with who else but Ozuka here for AXZ. Ozuka gives and Ozuka takes away. And this is the problem here is Ozuka is still looking for an engage. Why are you stepping so aggressively when your team is not yet with you here? And unfortunately, Swamp is completely far away. Swamp doesn't even have Cyclone up yet just. So the numbers advantage favoring Roscoe Jesters here. It looks for a second like AXZ might have been able to turn the tides. And if Swamp had managed to catch Soul there, they win that fight. But Soul's flash keeps him out and alive. And after that, Soul just mechanically outplays this. This is why Soul is so good. And we've not seen his Lucian get this many outplays in a while here. So it's really good to see this one not afraid to go under the turret looking for action.
Yeah, someone say hitbox question mark on that. No, it was pretty close. Megaman there just at the end, not able to really do much coming out of stasis. And all in all, a pretty nice fight from Roscoe Jesters, but it's not out of danger just yet. AXZ is still very much in this game. They do need to be pretty wary of the potential for this comeback of Yellow Yoshi. Doing not too bad up against this Gnar and will scale very dangerously.
Yeah, as we've already seen in these last couple of fights, AXZ is nearing that break-even point here. So that win for Roscoe Jesters just kind of extends the timer on that clock for them a little bit here. And I still not seeing who's going to be the late game carry for Roscoe Jesters here. There, you can see that the damage is mostly coming out of Soul, and Soul has the most gold here. But as a Lucian, you're pretty short range. It's not even about the damage a Lucian can put out. It's more just about how safe are you in these team fights. And I expect to see Swamp just dive Soul every single time. Even with that chrono shift, that period while you're reviving, you're not putting out damage. And we've already seen that Megaman, Sangchu, Yellow Yoshi, all of them are constantly pumping out the damage. So while Soul's down, they might be in trouble. Secret? Oh, come on, Swamp. I thought Swamp was going to try and one-shot Secret there.
It could have been, but it won't be for now. And also, Roscoe Jesters, they are starting to make proactive plays on the map. They are starting to become quite threatening right now. It is going to be Megamin that is the one receiving this threat, and it is going to be going down. Recap with the Chrono
Oh,
Shift on
TP?
themselves.
Oh,
May fall, but are going to come back to life. It is going to be the Vi that's already gone down, but now here comes AXZ. They're going to be going aggressive. Recap just about dodging the hook, but it's not going to be enough. They get taken down by Sanchu, and now Yoroyoshi potentially going even further forward. So you're going to have to flash away, and Rascal Jesters, they are going to be able to take the tier 2 in the bot lane. They got the tier 1 in the top side, but losing a few members, does that potentially open up the potential for Baron?
not quite. It's a little bit risky here, and I don't know if AXZ feels comfortable doing that. Somebody has to answer I know as well because of that constant shove. So it'd be 3 people on Baron. I think AXZ just played this safe now. And Rascal Jesters, well played from Ino to keep shoving. Don't get baited into that TP top side there. The fight was already over. But it just feels like they're still lacking a little bit. And this is a dive that's initiated by Rascal Justice. They're really good at picking out a single member really quickly. They've got great bursts. Look at Megamin. Megamin gets to do pretty much nothing before he's dead. But they burnt 2 ultimates to do that, 3 if you count the Chrono Shift to stay alive. And this time, Ozuka's point-blank depth charge, beautiful, keeps people locked down for the rest of AXZ to come back in and clean up here. So Rascal Jesters, this should be a lesson to them that, hey, we shouldn't team fight anymore. We need picks, we need to disengage, and we need to re-engage again after on our terms.
Yeah, Ross, they're going to pick up the second dragon for themselves, 4th of the game. So it's 2-2 to both sides in that mountain. So not any time near, but we may get to see it finally in this game. If it does continue at this pace, as right now Russell just is looking to put a bit more pressure down on that mid side, but actually, there and there is the knock-up. They are going for a bit of a team fight. Secret already removed from this fight, and so able to kite back a little bit longer, but not going to be able to really get in for any meaningful damage.
I love that Ino is just chilling on the side there. That is literally their win con at this point. Ozuka getting tagged here.
Culling, they're going to come out, not going to really land onto anyone, and they see Ino pushing, and they've said, you know what, we can just do Baron.
Yeah, this time they've got the numbers, but they will lose inhibitor for it. And the big question for Rascal Jesters now is, can we peel them off? Because if you can peel them off, this is massive. If you can steal, even bigger TP coming in from Ino.
Ooh, they're not going to go for it. But here goes the fight. Vi going straight onto Megamin, but a lot of damage going down. Will get Chrono shifted, so it's going to stay alive for a little bit longer. So the target man, the one that you have to really watch out for. But there they go. They're not going to get swept away. So still much in this fight. Will get a big Gnar stun onto Megamin. And now Lucian able just to fire off from the back line. Still not touched, but finally going to be focused by the Zeri. Will fall down and recap on the run, but here comes Secret. Will pick up another kill as Sanchu going to have to leave the fight. It was a 4v5 and it ended up being 4 for 3 over the side of Rascal Jesters.
And Ino doesn't take the inhibitor. That's huge. Recap, if you can land this bomb.
Recap going aggressive here. Doesn't land the bomb, but it doesn't matter. It's going to be Sanchu that falls either way. And I feel like they were dancing with death. Sanchu, you could have just stepped off.
Yeah, but Sanctuary, that's why we love Sanctuary, because Sanctuary won't step off. Sanctuary will look for those kills there, and that was incredibly close. I'm not sold that it was the best choice from Rascal Jesters to peel off, but you can't argue that they still managed to win another team fight. And in this team fight, watch Soul's positioning for the most part, because Soul gets to survive forever. AXZ has a lot of damage. They can chew through whoever walks in, and we said that, okay, when Revive comes down, whoever's reviving can't auto-attack. But when the person reviving is Hachamecha, who's attacked, it literally doesn't matter. So Hachamecha goes in, gets killed, but they've burnt so much time. And all this time, Soul was just free firing in the back as well. Up to now, where's the engage? And we're back to Baron here as this time it's RJ starting it up.
No
you
way.
Can cancel that?
No way does that work. No. Enough, Gwen. Riot, please. Vi now has no ultimate. It's on cooldown because of Hallowed Mist. That is insane.
It's supposed to be unstoppable. That was eminently stoppable. That is messed up.
Well, rip the ulti. Right now, Yellow Yoshi, though, getting pretty close to Soul. Soul is half HP. He needs to be a little bit careful here. I know. Going to be hooked up. I'm going to go to Mininar very soon. There's the double bomb, though. Does stun up the Nautilus, but Swamp going aggressive with the Cyclone. Gets Secret and Hachamecha. They're going into the back line. And Soul is now low. Soul picked them up immediately. It's Sanchu going aggressive into this fight. We are going to see the Chrono Shift onto the Zillion, but it makes no difference. He goes down. They will get mid-tower and maybe more. 5 members alive. Surely this is the Baron.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you could even take the mid inner and fall back to Baron here. Massive play from AXZ. I love the aggression. They know They know. You just need to kill Soul. You saw them throw everything in the kitchen sink. And the moment Soul was down, fight was over. Beautiful play from AXZ. And this is when that aggression from Ozuka is starting to pay off here. Zero fear. Yeah, I've died 3 times. So what of it? I'm just going to keep on looking. I thought it was bad at first when he hit Aino. But no. It worked out. The damage is just really good. And Roscoe Jesters obviously weren't expecting the catch either. You can see that they weren't exactly in position to deal with that pick on. I know people were still walking away. So it starts off with, Soul getting the good poke here. And you can see right that everybody was walking away. And Aino gets hooked. And there's a second before they actually all turn around. And because of that, they weren't in position to follow up. Everybody's so scattered here. And the flash forward from Swamp to keep on chasing.
That
just
laser.
Beautiful. Oh, yeah. It cut them off too. Like they were so scared to keep running into the laser. They got tagged. The slow allows everybody to catch back up.
The laser, disgusting from Zeri. Huge damage onto Soul and really just able to pick them off. And it was smart play from Sanctuary as well, going heads up into the Lucian. If you kill the Lucian, it really does change the game. But talking about that, once again, Culling going to come out, taking quite a bit of damage onto Sanctuary. We are going to see the shield bow procs already. And then Nami using that tidal wave to stop the engage coming out from AXZ. Yellow Yoshi able to drop a bit of damage, but Soul very healthy. The danger man indeed. If he goes down, and so do the hopes of Roscoe Jesters.
Dragon coming up in 10 as well. So this should be heavily Roscoe Jesters favored and well played from them to zone them out. For AXZ, part of me just feels like you should just continue pushing mid. Okay, this works too. Yellow Yoshi TPing top to maximize that Baron here. They're going to go for that, but there's no one to stop Roscoe Jesters from responding. So yeah, I know it's going to be up there. And AXZ, like your Baron buff is ticking. You've got a minute and a half left and you haven't got to push yet.
Indeed, minute and a half left. Soul still keeping themselves safe in this mid lane, able to dodge out the laser beam. And obviously with recap, I'm surprised we haven't seen a little bit more priority on to keeping Soul alive. I feel like it's been the chrono shift normally used on the Vi or the Zillion themselves. But either way, hasn't needed it just yet. Maybe that'll be a change that Roscoe Jesters make when it does come to those later team fights.
And part of me actually doesn't hate that it's not being used on Soul, because to be fair, Soul hasn't needed it as much either. Has been positioning great. Sanctuary, oh my goodness.
Recap taking quite a bit of damage. They're going to have to flash away. And yeah, Sanctuary is definitely online. And this was a champion that I feel like I personally got to know him for as well, especially in the earlier stages of last split. Some pretty dominant Zeri performances from this AXZ ADC.
Yeah, push coming in here. That's the one we wanted. 30 seconds left on Baron here, but they're not synced up with the mid lane, unfortunately. Yellow Yoshi wasn't able to shove that in. So I think that's kind of the end of the Baron power play. I know that's 24 seconds left, but by the time recall is complete here, Jerio, nothing left for it. And AXZ, they're still not in the lead. They're actually only on parity with Roscoe Jesters, despite how these team fights have been going.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Roscoe just keeping that gold very much in their pocket. They're also one away from Dragon Soul, which isn't going to be coming up anytime soon, maybe in about 3-4 minutes. But it is still one that you have to think about. AXZ and need to make sure that they can get in fighting range for that, because if they give that one up for free, it definitely tilts the tables back into Roscoe Jesters' favor.
I mean, on one hand, there's only one real tank for Roscoe Jesters, and that's Aino. So the Mountain Drake is going to be not as impactful as it otherwise would be. I can see AXZ giving it up, but if they do choose to do that, they have to make it worth somewhere else, either by cracking an inhibitor turret or by taking Baron here. I agree that you shouldn't be giving anything up for free. Now, Yellow Yoshi, no TP, was spotted bot side, but I don't think Roscoe Jesters kept timers because they're not playing as aggressively as I would like to see here.
Roscoe Jesters kind of just wandering around. Blue buff should be given over to the Lucian there, so Soul going to be able to keep that mana high. And yeah, AXZ also just keeping themselves at bay. They're kind of just saying, you know what, we're happy just to keep farming it up, try and get a little bit more items. As we are going to see Recap looking for a stun there, just going to land one bomb onto Mega Man.
Just a bit of poke, setting up. The teams don't have too much to fight for right now. Like you mentioned, Dragon's still a couple of minutes away, Baron 2 minutes away here. So just kind of stalling out, farming up, buying items here. Now, Jerry, you mentioned that we got to know Sangchu as a bit of a Zeri player. And a lot of what we said for Hybrid applies to Sangchu as well, because they're in similar situations where they're expected to be the massive carries for their team, and they don't always have proper peel or proper support here. So a mobile champion like Zeri is going to allow Sangchu to really pop off in these fights on his own. Still has the flash available, the cleanse as well here. And that's where my eyes are going to be for this next fight, even more than Soul right now. is where is Sangchu and how quickly can he shred through these front lines?
Ooh, Swamp though. There's the hook on to Soul. Soul is going to have to use that Chrono Shift, and now he's going to go low in between the team, and in goes Yellow Yoshi looking to get this bit of damage down. He's going pretty low. He's half HP, but he's not dead just yet. And in goes Swamp once again. Hachimecha is going to be the target that they take down for sure. And on to tier 2 mid they go.
Could this be game here? I mean, there's a lot of threat. If they can catch one more person, I know. Playing with fire.
I know was giving them a catch for free. Yellow Yoshi, though, is pretty low and is going to want to have to back away. They take a tier 2. Dragon 1 minute. Baron in 38 seconds. What a time for AXZ to start to show up.
30 seconds. The recall's a little bit late here. And Roscoe Jesters, despite losing members, can actually set up at that Baron zone first. And AXZ are gonna have to walk into that. So I was talking about Sangchu. I was looking at Sangchu, but Swamp, zero hesitation. Sees Soul available, just dives right in here. And Soul, I mean, you just can't be frontlining like that here. The revive goes down, but it barely gets them out. And because the revive was down, Secret dies, Hachimecha dies. A lot of people are suffering for that one positional mistake here.
Indeed, they kind of have to go down with their captain, and so definitely the captain in this game really needs to stay alive in this one. It looks like they're going to go for that Baron instead of the Dragon. I feel like AXZ can collapse on them here, though. This is a little bit risky.
Yeah, this is a bit of desperation, but what choice do you have? You do have a lot of damage, though, so Baron already down to half health here. Vision gets dropped.
It is going lower. Recap going to be knocked up, buying some time for the team. The Tidal Wave going to be dodged out by the Gwen. They take the Baron, but what cost is it going to be? Soul is going to fall down. Hachimecha surely isn't going to survive either. Recap will drop 2. And Rascal Jesters, we said that it was going to be a bit of a risk, and they may have just lost the game.
Minions are pushing in here. Only Aino and Secret up and available. Aino is tanky, but does he have the wave clear? And Secret, if anything lands, Secret is dead. Ozuka looking to go fishing here.
Ooh, almost finding the pick onto Aino. Aino's still alive though, and the bubble going to give them a bit more time. A lot of damage coming out of Aino here. He is holding the line firm. And with the Baron empowered waves, it does make it a little bit more difficult for them to push. AXZ is going to have to back away and take that Drake.
Yellow Yoshi actually ended up tanking the turret as well for quite a while, so almost dropped just the turrets. AXZ will not be able to end. They do break an inhibitor, and they will be able to get Dragon to put both teams at soul point here. Roscoe Jesters are still in it here, Jerio, and this is the problem with these teams. They're so slow at closing out. They're so late. For Roscoe Jesters, Baron, kind of a desperation Baron. You don't really have a choice. If you don't take it, AXZ take it, and they win. So they go for it. I respect that. They're just trying to stall as much as possible there. So recap going down is perfectly fine. The problem is trying to get out without losing too much. And now they're pushing on this. Yellow Yoshi in the back.
Oh, Yellow Yoshi going to have to go into stasis. The hook going to go slightly wide, and Soul still very much alive. Gets the kill. The Cutting going to cut through the Nautilus like butter, and now it's going to be Swarm that tries to dive on, gets the Cyclone, but it's still so alive. He's going to go pretty low though. Sangchu right next to him. We are going to see the Chrono Shift onto Nam. Maybe it would have been better onto Lucian, but Sangchu still up. Going to have to back away though, as this Celine is dropping damage. And it is going to be Rascal Jesters that pick up another team fight win. They're only losing 1, but it was Soul.
Okay, another turret raised. The buy time still a minute on the Baron buff. And can I just say, Jay, I have been very impressed with Recap Cillian here. It's somehow actually staving off disaster in a lot of these team fights. And you can't ignore him because he can kill Sangchu. He's actually probably been the biggest threat to Sangchu this game.
Yeah, he definitely has been playing it pretty well. I will say there have been a couple fights here and there that maybe could have gone a little bit better with the Zillion, but all in all, I do think it's a really good play. It's a really good pick that they have been able to utilize optimally. But I still think there are a few questions, but we'll talk about that after the game is back into this one. Megamin able to clear these waves. They're still keeping Rascal Jesters at bay because if they do lose Soul in these fights, it does make it very difficult for them to continue. Now, Baron is going to go down in 14 seconds, which means there is about 3 minutes before that one spawns up again. And we also have to think about the fight around the Dragon's Soul.
Yeah, there's still a bit of time till Dragon comes up, and for AXZ here, they actually don't have teleport, so they're not going to be able to get as good cross-map pressure as they'd like. Swamp.
Swarm going aggressive there, but it is going to be able to get the knockup. And
Okay.
Synchro almost going down immediately. Mega Man dropping so much damage, but so with the culling going to
Sangchu,
return
the
favor.
flank.
We've already seen the drop of
Sangchu!
the chrono shift, and in the backline, Sangchu goes. He takes down Soul, and now he's looking for more recap. Could
He's
be in
not
trouble here,
dying!
but they are getting damage onto the Zeri, who did have GA. They're going to come back up, and they've taken down Hachimecha. It's so many members gone for the side of Rascal Jesters. Only I know, and only recap, but is that going to be enough?
Who needs Soul? Who needs cross-map pressure, J-Real, when you can just kill and get things in? Where is Recap going? I think he wanted to cut the wave.
Smart. He stopped the wave. He stopped the wave from pushing.
And he got out. Okay, I was going to say, if he dies here, not worth... Yeah, that was actually Galaxy Brain coming through. I didn't think he was going to get out alive, and because of that, Axis can't end. They will get another turret here, but they cannot end, and that is absolutely massive, absolutely critical. The game goes on. Roscoe Jester get another shot, but when Sangchu can just dive your backline like that, when it's literally a 3v5 situation and Axis wins, where are you gonna go?
Oh man, this fight was a little bit messy. It started off really well for us with Jesters, but a great flank from Sangchu just comes in, immediately removes Secret from the game. So then going to be dropped, and Sangchu obviously having the GA was massive because he doesn't die here. Hachimecha almost turning it around onto the ADC of Axis, but how many more can Roscoe Jesters survive?
I mean, that's the thing, J-Real. It's a great fight for Roscoe Justice. They get a great pick. And you look at it, and Megamin's lost 20% health. Swamp is half health. And you blew how many ultimates to make that particular pick? And that's a great pick. That's my problem with Roscoe Jester. Their composition doesn't allow for them to scale up and do the damage. Even right there, Soul unloads everything and still losing the trade.
Ooh, gonna have to run real quick. Does get very far away from that depth charge, so it's not going to be taken down after it lands. But once again, precarious situations for the Russell Justice ADC. So in constant fear of getting picked, basically, and has to get very close to do the damage. And Mega Man now actually going to be trapped out here. That's a lot of damage from the culling, and it's going to force them back. And a big throw from Aino will push them away. But Hachimecha now under big trouble, and they haven't been able to turn this one around. Secret going to be picked finally. And so on low HP, a lot of the members from Russell Jesters are trying to run, but don't have much wiggle room if they get caught. They are out alive, and now we get to the Baron and Dragon spawning. 20 seconds on both. Mountain Soul up for grabs.
I swear, J-Real, they can hear us. They're listening to us. As soon as we say Soul is scared, Soul just steps up right into the face of death. And Soul does survive, but that was actually what baited the death onto, well, pretty much the entirety of the rest of the team. They barely get out limping here. Now, Swamp is low. Gonna take the honey fruit. This was big.
Swamp is, wow, playing with fire is an understatement there. That was like almost playing with an inferno, as they are going to get the hook onto Arno. That's going to be quite a bit of damage going on to the mini, not Mega just yet. There's the knockup as well, and it is going to be Soul that goes down. We are going to get the chrono shift that keeps him alive, as now Sangchu going to be in trouble there. Get stunned, up and over the wall they go, and the bomb isn't going to do enough damage. So now trying to run away as into the backline, Hachimecha goes, but it's not going to be enough. GA is going to be damage, but he's not going to be able to turn this one around again. Another kill going down. They've already taken the mountain. Soul himself is going to have to run away. Recap and Secret left alive. Can they defend the base? They're going forth, and will Axis be able to conquer?
I mean, there's an in-hit back up here, and Sangchu!
Oh, Sangchu with the laser! He gets the kill, and it's going to be Secret that couldn't keep him alive. Recap trying to run away. The in-hit is going to go down. Does he have the wave clear? Mega Min forces out the stasis from Recap, trying to get the shuffle, but it doesn't matter. He's going to go down. He's going to respawn in front of his Nexus that will fall, and it will be Axis that take the game.
Let's go, Axis. My faith is finally rewarded here, J-Real, and I absolutely love it. That said, a lot of this, like I said in the pregame, comes off of Roscoe Jesters, and I don't know what they were thinking. The drafts in these last two games here, J-Real, have just been mind-boggling.
This is one of the best days of LJL. This has been one of the best days of LJL. We've had bangers from start to finish. Game 1, Hawks versus Burning Court. Fun game to watch. Game 2. Well, we're going to go through it in a little bit. We're going to take a short break here. Actually, no. Do we want to take a short break here?
You know what?
No,
Let's
we
just
don't
get
want
into
to take a short break here. Let's bring up the draft. Let's talk about this game right now. Game 4. Axis versus Rascal Jesters. We've been here before in week 1, and we're here again. AXZ picking up the win, which is actually massive for the standings. We'll get into that later. Into the draft we go. And let's just start with Rascal Jesters, man. Like, okay, Lucian Nami, I think the Lucian was pretty good.
That's the problem. It did well in lane. The Lucianami did well in lane, but generally with a Lucianami, it's not good enough to do well. You need to smash that lane. You need to take that turret early. You need to rotate out. You need to make sure your opponents are down a level, 2 levels, and you need to dragon stack. In Jerial, we didn't see the dragon stacking. The first 2 dragons taken really well, but they lost the 3rd and 4th. And that's the problem with the Lucianami. If you fall to that level, it's not okay. And it's not granted just the Lucianami either. It's the other lanes. Where else are we supposed to put pressure? Recap didn't have kill threat. You're a zillion, for goodness sakes. I mean, they killed Megamin once or twice, but that's more off of Hashimicha. And in the top lane as well, huge props to Yellow Yoshi. Like we said, known to be a tank player, his Gwen has given me hope that he can expand this roster. And if you can start adding carry threats to the top side, that is everything AXZ needed.
It is indeed. And I'm not going to lie, Brazilian, we talked a bit about it. It had some good moments, right? And I actually think if it wasn't, it actually could have come out really clutch. But this duo itself was not the one. It was not the one. I think they need to go back to the drawing board and switch it up, pick a few other different ones that could go together and synergize a bit better. I feel like Zillion had a few moments that really stalled out the game. I think the recap actually played pretty well, but again, It goes back to what we had in game 3. If you were just on a better pick, maybe you win the game.
Exactly. And again, right? Like, who are you chrono shifting? Where's the best person to put it? We saw only, I think, twice that game, Soul actually getting the resurrect there. And even when he was getting the resurrect, he was not pumping out the damage. So it was a little bit less than ideal for this composition. If you're going to run this, I really don't want to see it run with the Lucianami. Pick it with the Jinx, pick it with the Zeri, pick it with the Sivir, or even Samira would have been a much better pickup here if you wanted to run that Zillion, that revive to come through. And as for AXZ, you know, their draft was really, really, really solid. Only thing I would have changed was maybe a Sivir instead of a Zeri. But then when you look at Sangchu just zipping around all game long, I can't fault him for the Zeri. Sangchu played like an absolute giga chat that game, just diving in 1v4.
Sangchu popped off, massive movements from him. We've talked about him on the Zeri before. We're talking about him on the Zeri again. It's just a solid pick for them. And I'm not going to lie, Russell Jesters, yeah, the draft, I think, didn't help them. I think that they actually played quite well in the grand scheme of things, but they just didn't have the draft to back it up. And, well, this is League of Legends, you know. AXZ picking up another win there, which is absolutely massive, because we're not going to be able to bring them up on the stream right now, but the standings have changed drastically from today. I talked about it from game 1. I told people this is an important one because Burning Core lost and they went 5-10. CGA lost, also went 5-10, and now AXZ pick up the win to go 5-10. 3 teams are fighting for that 6th spot, and Rascal Jesters, if you don't start picking up some wins, you're not safe either. So the bottom of the table is heating up. And it's exactly what I want to see. And we're definitely going to be watching that one closely because we only have 6 days left, guys. We only have 6 more match days left. That is not long left. But let's give you a quick recap of what happened today, just in case you weren't around to watch the game. So the Hawks versus Burning Core in the earlier stages of this morning. It was a really good showing from the Hawks. Burning Core seemed to be a little bit slow. Didn't really turn up too much, and the Hawks able to keep a slow early game led to a very explosive ending where they were able to take the game very, very quickly after taking a few objectives. On to game number 2. DFM versus V3 went exactly how you would have expected in terms of result, but not exactly how you would have expected in terms of gameplay. A much closer game from V3 where they actually put on quite a bit of a show. A lot of proactive plays from them, and DFM also playing a little bit slack, but the inevitable was always realized. DFM picking up another win, keeping themselves at the top of the table, and I believe on a 14 win streak. Sengoku versus CGA was an absolute banger. Go and watch that game again. It was so good, unless you're a CGA fan, in which case it might make you want to cry. But
it's still good.
A very, very close game. Super plays from Hybrid. Absolute monstrosity of a team fight. It was what you wanted to see in a League of Legends game. And then on to the last game of the day, another banger. AXZ versus Russell Jesters. Russell Jesters not able to pick up the win, and AXZ playing off a better team fight, able to pick up the dub. And it was Sengoku that also picked up the win in game 3, just in case I didn't mention that. But that has been today's action, and now you know where we're going to go. It's time for Mess or Impress. RMC, are you ready for this one? Who is your mess for today?
My mess for today has been drafts. R5 Oriana, R5 Wukong, the Draven pickup line. Like, there's just so many big question marks coming through on drafting today.
True. My mess is actually going to be Burning Core. I think that Burning Core actually put themselves in a good position from draft, and they just didn't really execute on what they wanted to do. So I was a little bit disappointed with them on that front. I think they had options and they didn't really play to them. I would like to see them kind of tighten that one up a little bit more, because as I said, that place for 6th is not secured. That is very much hotly contested at the moment. But on to the impress. Who has really impressed you today, RMC?
Ooh, that's tough because there are a lot of
tough,
really impressive
plays. This is the hardest impress, I think, out of all the days.
I mean, my bias is always towards AXZ. I want to say that they impressed me the most, but I'm actually going to give it to CGA and how they played, because that team as a whole, that I think was the hardest match. Like, AXZ beating Vasco Jesters is not out of the realm of impossibility. Crest Gaming beating Sengoku kind of feels like David versus Goliath. And while they didn't beat them, they came so close. So I'm actually going to give it to them as a team, because I think every single player really stepped up there.
Yeah, I'm going to get, well, there's a few I'm going to shout. I'm going to say shout out to ADCs, because I think that in the last 2 games, all the ADCs played phenomenally. Yep. I think Vital, Hybrid, Sangchu, Soul, I think also a great performance earlier on in the day from the side of Marvel on the Sivir. Like, I think ADCs have popped off today. Congrats to you guys. I also want to say shout out to Sancho specifically. I think he played amazing. I think his jumps over the walls into those kills really put AXZ back into that game. And it was some beautiful play in general. But as I said, this is a tough impress because everyone played sick. This is one of my favorite days of the LJL. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch, especially those last 2 games. I swear you will enjoy it yourself. It was a great time. But with that being said, we have to say thank you to you guys that came through and watched. Obviously, shout out to all of the players and matches that had come through. And obviously, shout out to all of the cast we had today. Shout out Middlecott, shout out Must1, obviously yourself as well, RMC. And obviously, shout out producer Dan from Discord. But with that being said, that is going to be all from the LJL Day 15. We will be back on Friday, 10 o'clock BST, with more LJL action. Join me. I'll be there. And also, spicy game at the end of the day. It is going to be the return of the grudge match. It is the FM Sengoku. But until then, goodbye.